New OGs. The New OGs is a State Madison Entertainment production and is brought to you by Solar Masters. Look, Illinois is changing how people get their electricity, and Solar Masters is helping homeowners in Illinois take advantage of that program and lets them get solar power at no cost. If you're a single-family homeowner in the state of Illinois, you can lower your electric bill, you can raise the value of your home, and you can do something good for the environment without paying a single dollar out of your pocket to do so. In fact, Solar Masters can only work with you if they can save you money. Solar Masters is a SunPower dealer. They're an American panel maker with over 30 years of solar experience. And for the end of 2020, they're also giving a $1,000 cash rebate to anyone who goes solar.
Bobby!
Yes, sir.
Bobby!
There he is.
There Bobby, he is. Wait a minute.
He's alive. He's alive. It
wait
hasn't
a minute.
hit yet.
They're giving people $1,000 cash back.
Yeah, on top of everything else.
They let them save money on their energy.
So saving money on their electric bill.
And they helping the environment.
Helping the environment as well.
And they getting all this for no money down.
No money out of pocket to do it.
No money out of pocket?
Nothing. They just say they want to do it. They sign up. They qualify. If your home qualifies, you can do this. It'll cost you no money if you want to do it. You'll get a cheaper bill. And then on top of that, they're going to give you $1,000. You can do with whatever you want.
Bobby, that's better than a clean crackhead. I got to tell you. Woo! Clean crack, a clean crack. You find a clean crackhead?
Like one who's bathed?
Yeah, no, I'm saying like she like new to the crack game, so she ain't.
Oh, like fresh on crack. She's just fresh
yeah.
into the crack. Yeah, those are hard to find.
Oh,
why is it that you rarely find new crackheads? You always find crackheads who are kind of deep into it.
Yeah, they're hard to spot.
Well, if you're trying to spot a way to take care of your electric bill, get over to www.gosolarmasters.com. Get in contact for a free consultation. Order a first one, because if you refer them and they go solar, they'll send you $500 on top of that. It's a pretty good deal. We are also brought to you by People of Comedy.
Hey.
That we are on right now. James Webb is working on the boards right now, keeping us live. We are happy to be with you. A little late start today, but we got new stuff coming for you guys. We're always working on new shit. I tend to start working on it like 4:00, so that's just the way it goes. But we get to People of Comedy. They've got all types of great shows. We are the oldest two people on the network, probably by a couple of years.
A long shot, baby.
Hey now.
Slow down, partner. I just got comfortable
by a couple of years.
Saying I was gonna let my shit go gray again. I don't need you shouting out I'm the oldest nigga on the network, motherfucker.
But we probably have less children than some of the other people on the network. So
definitely, yeah.
So we have done a better job of keeping society at bay than some of our podcast network partners. But listen, go there. They put out all types of great stuff with all the stuff that's going on this year, with all the protests and things like that. They've been live streaming a ton of that stuff, including in Chicago and all over the country. But they've got other great podcasts you can check out as well. Make sure you get there and check them out. What's going on, everybody? How we doing, XL?
I am. I'm dressed in all black today.
All right.
I am in mourning for the end of the hoax.
The hoax is over.
The hoax is over. Maybe a hoax if it's around your throat.
Man, it is hoaxing him to death right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's got symptoms and everything, right?
Yeah, that hoax is fucking him up.
The hoax is getting to him, man.
Yeah, hoax got a mean jab, goddamn. I said coronavirus voted early. So
man, super early. Coronavirus is getting it in quick. Yeah. It's like you want, all the puns have been out there. It's the most time I've spent in a short period of time on social media just writing new material. Like I practiced a lot of new ideas yesterday. It was a great opportunity to practice some new ideas. Was being on social media last night between like midnight and 3 a.m. I think was the most action that Twitter had in a long time.
I have been doing like some, exercise shit around the crib, like doing a little aerobics, whatever. So I was like, I got high and I was tired. I went to bed early as fuck, like 8:30. Like I was asleep early. Woke up.
You say you're doing aerobics?
Huh? You
say you're doing aerobics?
I just dance in my garage, man. It's weird. I don't want to talk about it. Let's keep going.
Hold on now. Almost as important as finding out about Trump getting coronavirus.
I just dance in my garage, and I just keep telling myself, if you was at a club, you'd keep dancing because bitches is watching. So just act like bitches and keep dancing.
I can dig it. I'm down.
And
I'm
so
down.
that's how I try to get some movement going.
Right.
And anyway, I wake up like literally like maybe 5 minutes to midnight, about to go take a leak, and right as I'm getting up out of bed, TV breaking news:
Right.
the president has tested positive. It was like right at midnight, I feel like.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was like, I think it was 11:54, I think was when the news broke. Not that I'm keeping track of specifically when the leader of our country realizes that he is a human being. But I'm pretty sure 11:54 is when the news broke, to be specific.
Yeah.
So you were up after that, huh?
Yeah. I was up for a while after that because you know, you wanted to find out because I'm not. This shit scares me, man. It scares me
Corona?
because, well, 50% of me thinks he's lying. I think this is a ploy to avoid having to do debates.
Let's unpack that, because I think that is the weakest path. I think that is not good game theory. If you are a fan, like anybody who would try and structure that out would think that is a terrible, I think would land on that being a terrible idea. And here's why. Like, so he's got a debate coming up on the 15th, but it's the only next debate that's within the time frame that would probably have to quarantine or be isolated for to prove that he's chill. After that, like he could be back on the mend for debate number 3. The other thing is, like, if I don't think people understand like this man's personality. He doesn't think he lost the first debate. Like he doesn't feel like he needs to run from the debates. He doesn't feel like he lost the first debate. He was on the phone. They were on the phone with the Presidential Debate Commission, like cursing them out for even attempting to try and change the rules, saying they didn't do anything wrong. He doesn't think that he lost. Not really. You know what I mean? Like, you may think that's a reaction of somebody who's worried, but that reaction is not because he thought he did poorly and he's trying to. No.
I don't disagree with you. I don't
fine.
disagree with you. I do believe, I did hear him say that he thought he did well, and I saw him tell his people we did well.
And the other part of that is like, this is a man who has tried to downplay this virus in his own words from the start, right? Like from the get-go, this dude was trying to downplay the virus. This is the worst possible time to make the coronavirus and the impact of it the most important thing going on in the world. It's a bad time to have everybody talking about a virus that you are on tape as downplaying. They can play that clip of him in March and him now over and over again.
I can see, Bobby, you got me.
I mean,
okay. In that case, you have just made my next move way easier. Excuse me while I call my bookie. I'm putting $100 that he don't outlast Herman Cain.
Now, that is also very possible because he is also showing symptoms right now. And if Herman Cain has any pull wherever the fuck he is.
Rocco! Yeah, do the whole 100, dog. Yeah, that nigga ain't beating Herman.
Hey, throw one for me. Right. Throw one for me.
Make it a double play, baby. I don't holler at you. Tell your mama I said hey.
I wonder if there's got to be some deals going on, right? Is there a trifecta with maybe him, Melania, and maybe like a
I believe Melania went and got the shit and gave it to the nigga. Like she's like, it may take me, but it will take you first.
she's divisive, man. People think she's not on his side. That chick is the one who pushed him. She's the one who picked Pence, dog.
Dude, I heard her best friend wrote I don't know if did she write I can't remember if she wrote a book. I know she like spit to the FBI and had tapes of her and was like, that bitch is just as evil as the rest of them.
Did you hear the tapes? The tapes came out yesterday. So for the conspiracy nuts, and this is the thing, is like, it's so easy to slip into that same version on the left, right? It's so easy to slide into a version of whatever the fuck QAnon is, but liberal. It's so easy, right? Like, oh, it's a first of all, it's a shame that like this dude has lied to us so much that we would even consider that he's lying about being sick, right? Like nothing about.
I hate to interrupt.
Yeah.
We have breaking news. Trump. This is 6 minutes ago. Trump is reportedly on his way to Walter Reed Hospital. His previously mild case is now moderate.
Oh boy!
So
he's gonna be on a ventilator before it's over. He's in his 70s and he's fat. He's a fat dude in his 70s.
He is
obese. I don't know why. I mean, obese is fat, right?
The
Like,
report says that he may be there
Yeah,
for
yeah, he's fat.
quote unquote several days is the estimate.
Pence is going to be taking over for a little while. Is what's going to happen.
So I told you guys when this first broke last night, I told you guys Pence taking over scares me a little bit because the people who are voting against this administration, when I'm talking about the people, I'm talking about the Republicans, the Lincoln Project, those guys, they're voting against Trump.
The Never Trumpers are not Never Pencers.
They're not Never Pencers. They'd probably be pretty cool with Mike Pence. All of that immediately goes away. It's kind of like some of them got silent when the Mitt Romney all of a sudden when the Supreme Court vacancy became open. There's some things where they're like, oh, whoa.
I've heard multiple people who are Never Trumpers who are like, but yeah, let's get the Supreme Court pick in here though, right? Like they're fine with all the justice. I mean, that's been the thing the whole time though, is that they're fine with the justice passing, right?
Yeah.
They're fine with like all the judges that they can get in. They're okay with all that. What they want to, the problem is with him, but they're using him as a shield the whole time. They have no problem using him as a shield throughout that process.
Yeah. So I am terrified if he is on a ventilator by next week and no longer with us by the week after that, and Pence becomes president and it's technically the ticket. Anybody who hadn't voted yet, people who are waiting to election day for whatever reason, that changes a lot, and that is a very different campaign because I could also see pity votes. I could also see people wanting to give Mike Pence a try because the one thing that is true
Pence against Biden though, like
that's the most boring motherfucking campaign.
It is, but also there's this thing where like Biden's proof of actual like leadership and having been there is greater than Pence's when it comes down to it. Like I get what you're saying. Like there'll be a lot of people who are against Trump who will slide back over and would vote for Pence 100%.
If Pence goes through with the final debate,
right,
to stand in as president and try to win the presidency, the only argument I can see Biden having against him that would appeal to people who were going to vote against them is that you stood side by side with this motherfucker the whole time.
4 years of complicitness.
You are implicit in all this. You didn't say anything about kids in cages. You didn't say anything about the coronavirus stuff. You knew all the same stuff he knew. And you didn't say anything.
So like, this presidential election is about 401ks versus social advancement. That's what it's about. There are a bunch of people who are Trump fans because their 401k is. I heard it. Like I've been here listening to a lot. I've listened to a lot of like voter talk over the last week of like interviews with voters who are Trump supporters for various different reasons, right? But in the end, it always comes back to my 401k is better than it was. You know what I mean? And more so than anything, I wish you wouldn't tweet as much. I wish you'd be nicer about the kids in the cages. But in the end, my family is the most important thing. And my 401k is better, which I think is a horrible way to live.
By the way, Bobby, I think that there is a tumultuous end of October coming. And if your entire vote was based on he made the 401k better, your 401k better, and the trajectory that it looks like is happening now that he's being taken to the hospital, the trajectory that looks like it's happening now, if the president passes, I'm not wishing for anything, but if the president passes, on top of the bad economic news that we're about to get, that's going to send the market. Yeah, that 401k ain't gonna be that sexy.
The market's down already because of this. I mean,
it only dropped 100 to some points today. But when news first happened, it was down $500,000.
Right.
And it came back. I think people realized they were like, "Oh yeah, wait, it's just Trump. We'll be okay." But
this motherfucker's gonna die like everybody else, though. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't mean specifically from this, but I mean like he is a human being. He is going to die from something at some point. the idea that he would escape this for any special reason, like there's nothing about income level that has prevented someone who's gotten this from getting like better. Like it's
Only
not,
thing I can say is
there's
because
not
he's
a,
the president, that if there's anything that's super extra, like on the cusp of success, and they got some experimental stuff
you
they
don't
can release.
experiment you don't want to experiment with the president.
Yeah, but if he's gonna anyway,
Sure. I mean, you give him
what are
that
you gonna
option.
do? You know,
You give him that option. I'm not sure how excited he'd even be about that. But like, the thing about this that scientists have been hollering from the beginning is that like there is no way to just fix this. It is trying to keep things at bay as best as possible and build your immune system up as best as possible in the meantime to help fight it. But like they can't, there's no like path to make sure that people get better. And so like he's got to just deal with it until it goes away. And I know people who had it and who were sick for 60 days, 70
yeah.
days. Somebody in a wheelchair for months in their 30s. Someone with a heart murmur in their 30s now, forever. Someone still weak months later. So like the idea that he
It
would
was
like,
just a story of a 19-year-old kid who was like an athlete in great shape, and it killed him. So
I mean, it's really a roll the dice kind of a deal. And so if he got the Herman Cain strain, he's fucked. You know what I mean? Like
and
if
here's the thing that's concerning to because I like I said, I don't wish for anybody's demise, but
shit, I do. If you were alive during Hitler's
here's the
time, you
thing.
wish for his demise.
From what the reports are saying, you don't start if you have it, you are contagious for a couple days before you actually start showing symptoms. So that means that if Hope Hicks, they're blaming Hope Hicks, but somebody brought up a good point. How do we know he didn't give it to Hope Hicks? Shit, we don't.
She was just the first positive test they got back. That doesn't mean that she
She's
brought it in.
the first person that's positive. Right? Yeah, we don't know if it was her. We just blaming this bitch. We don't know, like Hope.
What a
dirty
surprise that side would make a woman the scapegoat.
It could be. It could like
surprised he didn't keep Candace Owens close.
He announced it at midnight. Now that you said, Bobby, the fact he was probably the first positive test, but he made Hope take the bullet because his.
I mean, another sign that it's not fake, right? You don't make an 11:54 on a Thursday night announcement that you have coronavirus on some fake bullshit. Like you stage that better. While people are in the middle of the night,
time.
like that's a thing where like, no, we already got to let the American people know.
8 a.m. So it runs all day. Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, he did promote that he was taking hydroxychloroquine for a while too. That would have been a great time to fake it because he was trying to open up the economy. The best time would have been like May or whenever.
29 days, Bobby.
You know,
you got $100 each on 29 days.
29 days will do it, man. That'll be the move. The tough thing is like, the rest of the world after the debate had already seen us like our stance as a world power is in dire straits at the moment. Having a president who's in the hospital for sure. I think we go on special military defense level when that shit happens too, right? Like
I'm certain we do. And also
there's like some special military code shit.
Have they invoked the 25th Amendment?
I don't know, man. I haven't.
If he's in the hospital, that
maybe our crack production staff can check on it for us while we're figuring that out.
I mean, if it's serious enough that they need to take the president, because they have some hospital type stuff at the White House. So if they have to actually take him, knowing who he is as the president, they have to take him to the hospital. That makes me think he's going to be incapacitated.
That's a fast advancement to go from like not. Nothing to Thursday night. This dude has it to Friday afternoon. This guy's got like.
This is what I was just about to say, Bobby. When I was talking about
there is no confirmation on the 25th Amendment. Just so you know.
Okay.
Thank you. The gestation period. What I've heard reading and listening to NPR and crap doctors talk about this. It is the amount of virus, the viral load that you get hit with, that determines how fast and
I wonder how big of a load he got hit with.
Well, I'm saying if him and Hope Hicks and whoever else test positive, if they're all in fucking Marine One together, they're on Air Force One together.
Have you
Marine
seen
One,
the pictures?
hanging out. Yeah, they're all fucking hanging out together. They're just shooting that shit back and forth, like bow, bow, bow. You know, this shit's it's a pinball machine.
Yeah,
They're
I've been
just
at an orgy
radiating
before.
back and forth to each other. So like him being 70, what is he, 75?
70, 74, 73, 74,
74?
something like that. After you get to be, once you get to be like after 71, it's just like, you know, just let me know when you're 80.
Yeah. So he's 74.
My mom would probably hate that.
This shit is this is him getting hit with a heavy load because his arrogant punk ass wouldn't wear a mask.
Yeah, Hope Hicks will be fine. Hope Hicks is like 29.
She's 30. She's gonna be okay.
Hope Hicks will be back on the streets abroad, just fucking. But it's not just those two. Obviously, Melania has it. I don't mean obviously.
Which I mean, I guess actually kind of a shock to me. That's the shit that made me not believe it, because I was like, this nigga was within 6 feet of Melania voluntarily. This bitch don't let him touch her hand.
Did you see at the debate when Jill Biden hugged him or Jill Biden hugged Joe, and then they cut over to Trump and he was holding Melania's hand, and one of them was like shaking the other one's like, we should be fucking hugging like that, like.
No, clearly it was Melania probably trying to break free. She does not like this nigga holding her hand. Like, she hates this shit every time he tries to do it. It's weird that he keeps trying to do it on TV. It's
not though. You know those dudes, man. You and I have both worked in the corporate world. We both have known Wall Street type cats. We both have known investor type cats. You know them old guys have that weird. Old guys with younger wives have that weird, like, they start, like, with guys like that, those money dudes, when they pick out one of those brides where, like, I've chosen you as my bride, they have that thing where there's a little bit of this, like, almost like an employee dad, employer dad, employee daughter kind of thing. It's this weird mix of, like, I pay for your time with me, and therefore, if I want to hold your hand, I hold your hand. Like, this is part of the deal. Which is gross. It's like, it's not the age difference that's the problem. It's like the ownership part. It's like the implied ownership of it that's the issue. You know what I mean? Like, because he's older and has the money, although, to be truthful, he doesn't really have the money. He does not really have the money, which is one of the things that came out this week too.
Hey,
so,
man,
like, what a time to die.
Which one of those hotels you think they're gonna sell first?
The Plaza will be the last one. That's the last thing he's gonna try and sell. He's got to try and sell the one in Chicago first.
Oh, what you talking about him? I'm talking about his kids. He's not.
He's not gonna be here. That's right. If I want to make my money, I need him to be gone. I need him.
yeah, fam.
Who do you think it's a sell? Do you think Jared sells it? Jared's gonna step in and run all that shit, like the true fucking step up cuck that he is. It's gonna be funny.
These are jokes. These are comic jokes. I'm not wishing for anybody's demise.
Man, this nigga ain't say shit, and 205,000 people are dead. Okay.
209,000.
What is the value of the guy who started the whole deal? How, if you can't wish for his death, whose death? Why are we putting so much value on life that wishing for death is a horrible thing? We sit here and bitch about this shit every day. Every day we're here, we're like, bring the meteor, and then you get a chance for somebody to die, and you're like, no, not him, not the worst guy on the planet. Fuck that guy.
If I'm being real, I told you I'm worried about the ballot. So I want that nigga to be on the ballot. But
you're right. Yeah, I would. Yeah, more than anything, I would like him to live, because, like, so my thing about,
I want him to face charges too.
My thing about not really wishing him death is only because I'm agnostic and I don't know what's next. So that's my only thing about wishing him death, is that, like, no, I know how the suffering works here when you have to suffer defeat and be broke and have to pay people. Like, I would love to see, like, former President Donald Trump have to deal with all the legalities and the money owed. Like, that's the Trump I want to see. I want to see how that one works. That's because I know that type of deal. I've seen how that operates in the world. I'm interested. I don't want him to die. I want him to live that life. I want to see what happens. I would like him to live long enough to see multiple presidents who are all better than him.
All
And
right, so
the world be like way better than that Trump dude. I would like him to live through that. That's what I want.
all right, so Bobby, I just realized something. Let's say he triumphantly recovers,
Right.
and he's healthier than ever, and he rises like the Messiah. He fuck around, he wins the election, he becomes a dictator that we believe he is, and he sees this episode. We're going to jail, baby. So
Yeah, man.
all of
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Hey, me, you, James,
Listen.
the new guy. This your first day, man. Sorry, but you going down too. They gonna find out who you are.
If you think this is the episode, after all the shit we've said on these episodes, this will just be one of the collection. They'll pull clips
I
of
think this is the one that's gonna do it. They're gonna watch a few and get some laughs. Go, actually, these guys are kind of funny. They go get to this one, they're gonna be like, wait a minute. They placed a wager.
Brother, they're gonna pull us into a room and they're gonna play an hour-long thing that's just gonna be highlights of times that we have essentially wished dismay on this motherfucker's whole family. And they're gonna be like, now because of that, obviously, we are gonna give you the old school firing squad.
So, hey, anybody up in Canada?
Yeah, we may need you.
In the Ottawa comedy scene, I'm coming to see how
November 7th, we may need to. I'm pretty sure there's some borders in Canada where you can just walk over across the street and all of a sudden you're in Canada. Like there's a thing that's like, there's one of those little, like, they put those cement like poles in the ground. It just says like Canada.
Yeah.
And then I've seen that shit where you do just like, literally you just like, well, over here is the United States. And around the side of this cul-de-sac is Canada. Yeah, it's possible, but like, the dude ain't got no money to go after nobody anyway. That's one of the things I didn't have in some of our notes. His taxes came out. You have been a business owner. I have been a business owner.
We are business owners.
We are business owners now. The idea that you could land at zero tax owed or received in 10 years out of 15 is not even like, that's not even good criminal shit. Like that's like when he came out with that shit about his taxes and they're like, he paid 10 out of 15 years. I'm like, and they were praising his accountant. I'm like, that is not good accountant work, because a good accountant would make it look like you paid or got something each of those. Zero, you lost exactly what you made in tax regard for 10 out of 15 years to zero. You didn't get $1. You ain't give $1. You landed zero. That is terrible criminality. That's like burying somebody 1 foot deep.
What I like to remind people is Trump's organization is privately held. So there's nobody looking at his books. There's no board. There's no shareholders. There's nobody else sees the books except for him, maybe Ivanka and his son.
And the accountant.
And whoever does and whatever duty you got doing his taxes.
Yep.
And or group, whatever organization is doing his taxes. So this motherfucker could make up anything. And that's why all of this shit looks like it loses money. All of this shit looks like he's constantly losing money. And I said this a while ago, you don't go bankrupt 4 times with a casino and 2 times with other shit. But 4 times with a casino, you go fucking bankrupt. You don't do that unless you stealing. That's
yeah. The reason why casinos work is because they are pretty much set on making money, right? Like there's...
Hey, man, I know a dude that owned 4 different nightclubs, and 4 different times those nightclubs caught fire. And the first 3 times I thought it was like, damn, fucking bad wiring, damn, whatever happened. Even on the 4th time, I didn't even realize on the 4th time until another friend of mine was like, hey man, this is the 4th time, dude. How have you not caught on to what's happening here?
Yeah, man, you can't go 10 out of 15 years paying no tax. That shit just is not, like, that's a drug dealer rule, man. You got to pay some type of shit somewhere. You ain't pay nothing. You got to zero, dog. That just
I just saw an Orphan Black last night. The only way you can wash your money is to pay taxes.
Yeah, well, and the other thing too is like, so people are like, well, he's got a good tax guy who figures shit out, but that's not just what happened. People hear that like he got deductions or that he figured some shit out, but like when you're getting taxed on buildings that have occupancy, by like renters and shit like that, the percentage that you pay in tax or what losses you can take are based on what your occupancy is on average over the course of that year. So like if you are honest about it, then you pay a tax based on that. But anything other than that is fraudulent. So like if you lie about your occupancy to pay a lesser tax, you are committing fraud on your taxes. And it is proven that he's done this because he also has taken loans out on that same property in the same year where he overvalued the occupancy so he could get the loan. So he has to be lying somewhere.
Yeah.
Either way, it's illegal for him to
Both
do
of
it.
those are federal offenses: lying, overvalue,
Yeah.
or undervalue.
And if he was honest with one and lied in the other, it's still fraudulent in one of those areas, which makes it illegal. So like that is an illegal thing. But I think the other part that's super important about all this shit is like, because I understand the idea of like trying to find properties or trying to find businesses that like show losses in a way that can offset some of that, or something that isn't a great winner to offset some of the gains that you make in other areas. I get that that's a thing that you can do. But one, the audit that he claims he has is actually an investigation over a $72 million tax refund he got. So like, here's what happened. So there was a recession. Obama had to change the rules for people because normally your deductions come back. If you're a business, you can claim up to 2 years, right? And trying to recoup money. So Obama gave him a 5-year window after the recession because he was like, these businesses are fucked. We got to find a way to help them get a little bit more money back. And Trump added a whole, like he try to get his shit back, plus a bunch of other shit he got in there. That's when he was paying Ivanka consulting fee shit. There's all types of other there's all types of other dumb shit he built into the $72 million that he claimed he was getting back. And that's where the problem is from. It wasn't like what he did was not what it was designed to do. And so he created all this bullshit. So that's what the audit is about. It's an investigation into the legality of what he did. He's not worth any money. He's not worth anything. His only money he's ever made has been from The Apprentice. It's the only money he's ever made in any business
Well,
he
his
had.
property, even though he has loans against much of it, the property he has value.
He owes $421 million in debt right now. And
Yeah, but like the
guaranteed.
Plaza Hotel might be close to that much by itself, man.
Maybe.
Like just that building.
Maybe. I mean, the difficulty is, so here's the tough part about it in the end, is that he owes $300 million that's due in 4 years.
Yeah.
Which means he's got to either go out and renegotiate those deals as the president if he wins,
or he has to liquidate some of his property. I mean, he has, if he gets rid of the golf course in Scotland, and
if someone's willing to pay him a fair market value for it at that point.
Yeah, you know,
you can really drive down the cost of his shit and buy up a lot of his shit because he's got no revenue stream after that.
Yeah, and I don't believe the only place that I know this place down in Florida is a shithole that wasn't doing anything. Mar-a-Lago was a shithole, and him going down there is keeping it profitable. And I think the same thing with the golf course in Ireland. I don't know about the DC joint and the New York spot.
He's got that Seven Springs spot that he fucking lied about on his taxes too. You could
the DC
probably take
spot,
that first.
You know he tried to have a FBI building. Well, he actually did. He had a new FBI building canceled so that the old FBI building would move, because if it moved, it would take the traffic away from his DC location.
Yeah. It's all about personal gain, man. He never divested from any of his companies. He just it's so crazy he's a charlatan and people just let it slide because people get mad about everybody else. You know what I mean? Like the amount of other people that they call tax cheats while this dude is out here doing this is insane to me.
Yeah.
And I just worry about the fact of like a guy who owes $300 million to a bank and what things he would do for them when he's trying to renegotiate a loan. That's not comfortable.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, you're not. Have you ever had a background check to get a job where they looked at your credit or your debt?
Yeah.
I for sure have done that. When I worked in mortgages, I worked for AmeriQuest, and they had to check my debt and my credit before I could work for them. Before I could work in mortgages. I mean,
especially if you're looking at working with anybody else's debt.
Yeah. If I'm going to work with somebody's money, This guy's working with the country's money. He owes $420 million in personally guaranteed loans. And we're like, yeah, he's going to be great for the economy.
Yeah, that's already thrown the shit. There were reports that show Biden's plan is going to be much better, faster, much better and faster for the economy.
7 million more jobs than Trump's plan.
Yeah, I don't. They're snub the nose. Like, okay, I even get like snub the nose at the establishment, blah blah blah. But at some point, we're still on the same ship, motherfucker. Like, I don't get like why are you still trying to sink the ship?
I think the big key, there's two things at play, right? There's this American exceptionalist mindset where all these guys, do you know the average income for a self-employed person, like a business owner, a small business owner, is like $73,000?
Okay.
And so like there's a bunch of these, and so it ranges, right, from like 30 grand to like 180 or something like that is the average range for a small business owner, but like 73 grand is about what the average is. And you have this like country of people who own variations of a small business who are making in that range 100 grand, maybe 120 grand as a small business owner, working 70 hours a week, who for some reason in their mind think they are a couple moves away from being Jeff Bezos. And they're just fucking not, right? Like there's this false idea that because you got an LLC, you are now nobility, and you're not. You and I both know this. It is the odds that you would, and this is not a downer on us. This is just like, these guys didn't start with the same shit we started with. Like they're not, the time it would take for me to reach Gates level wealth, I don't have, and most Americans don't. And so like, but a lot of these guys start a business and in their head, they believe that they're a few steps away from being that. They're just not. And so they give a pass to this guy because they envy his ability to be able to skirt the rules.
It's not gross isn't even the right word for it, man. It's sad.
It is sad.
It's really sad because at the end of the day, we're making jokes because this guy is a monster. I mean, I think the name Trump is going to be like Hitler. Like I think these motherfuckers have to change their names and move out of the country if they don't get locked up. And Byron's the only clean one.
Barron.
Yeah. No, it's like,
hope
Byron. He's gonna change it. He's gonna change it.
He's gonna change it. He's gonna change it back to Drumpf. Byron Drumpf. He's gonna be a hooper. He's gonna go to fucking some weird college somewhere.
He's gonna Duke. What do you mean it's a weird college? He's gonna go to Duke. What other school would he go to? Yeah. Little dick.
Yeah, he's got to go to Duke. Duke is the only college you could show up at. Yeah, I mean, it's just wild that people give him a break on that when all that shit happens. They gave him a break on the debate too. We were talking about how crazy that debate was. It was basically a 90-minute yell fest of what I thought was the craziest weird thing about it was people equating Biden's behavior, in which he basically responded to this dude trying to run him over by calling him a clown a few times and saying that was as bad as any of the shit that Trump was doing throughout. Did you see any of that at all?
I saw the whole damn thing, man. I kept wanting to turn it off, but then I just kept waiting. I kept thinking Joe was gonna knock the fuck out of him. Joe took his hand off the podium a couple times, like, I'm gonna hit this nigga. I thought Joe was gonna get him. I thought for sure Joe was gonna get him, especially when he was talking shit about Hunter and Bo. I thought Joe was about to go fuck him up.
Yeah, I was. I mean, it was funny because I started watching it at the beginning too, and at first I was like, I'm only gonna watch a couple minutes of this shit, and I'm gonna probably cut out on it. But when I saw how aggressive Trump was out of the gate, like interrupting, I was like, there's got to be a point where somebody's got to like stop it, right? Or someone's got to be like, listen, we're going to have to cut this because you're just not going to act right. Or like it was going to have to get to a point where like real yelling was going to happen or something. And it just kept on throughout the whole. I mean, the amount of interruptions were wild.
Have you ever seen somebody, you remember like kids
on a lot of Adderall?
No, like kids were like one kid is lying and the other kid's trying to tell the truth, and when the kid starts telling the truth, the other one goes to try like I drown him out. That's basically what Trump was doing. Like every time Biden would correct some shit or say the accurate shit, he'd just be, look at me.
You're gonna pack the court? You're gonna pack the court? Huh? You just lost the radical left. That shit was one of the funniest lines when he goes, you just lost the radical left.
Oh, you're not doing that? Oh, you just lost the left, Joe. What are you doing, Joe? You just lost the left. Like, this shit is so insanely comical. I can't believe we're living through it. I can't believe it's real. And I'm sad and disappointed in the people who are still dumb enough to go out to fucking rallies
the wild
and shit.
shit.
That's the best thing about this. There will be no more rallies.
No, they've ended that.
Done.
They're all going to be virtual from now on.
No, there will be no more rallies.
He's going to be sitting on his bed. He's going to be sitting on his bed in a suit.
Say that, and I don't give a fuck.
Get in the bed on a suit and lay out.
Because this saves lives. People are going to live now because this motherfucker is not out doing that dumb shit, risking people's lives. Because if the fucking president, if the president of the United States got this shit, don't tell me that the rest of the people at that rally weren't suspect to that shit too. There's people that are going to fucking die. There are old people at those rallies, man.
What I am worried about,
die for this dude, man.
What I'm worried about is him actually dying and then his people losing their shit over it. Like that is a concern of mine. His people are already on the edge, right? They're already standing down and standing by, or standing back and standing proud, or rubbing nuts and touching butts, or whatever the fuck they're doing. But like, if I don't know how much standing by they'll do, because like there's a bunch of conspiracy nuts, right? So like already there's a I forget what her name is, but she's this House representative. I think it's Dina Lorraine or some shit. She's on Twitter. She posted some crazy shit earlier where she was like, "Why is it only Republicans who are getting this, and somehow the Democrats aren't?"
Yeah, I responded to her. I was like, because they listen to the scientists, bitch. Like, you stupid motherfuckers are arguing with doctors about how viruses work. Like, and they listen to them and wore the mask.
My family keeps sticking their hands in crocodile pits. How come we only have one-handed kids? Like, what are you talking about? Like, you're the only ones doing dumb shit. But then she went and posted some other shit where she was like, how do we know they didn't do something to the podiums? They weren't sick until after the debates. How do we know they didn't do something to the podiums and the microphones? Like, that's that weird shit where like there's a bunch of people, and I know James is listening. He watched The Boys. There was a big thing that happened. Like the opening to The Boys last night was like exactly the thing that happens when you get somebody riled up enough over like a phony ass ideology and a false thought process. You can create chaos by riling people up. And if this dude dies after all the crazy QAnon shit that's out there, like, it could be a problem, especially since there are still people out protesting every day in certain areas. Like, that is not beyond the realm of the pale. It's also possible that he pulls a Kaiser Soze and he fakes his death and disappears so he doesn't have to pay that $420 million. He goes
and also doesn't have to go to jail for all the criminal shit.
Right? He gets down to Epstein Island. He fucking gets some plastic surgery. He ditches that hair. He looks like a fat Cuban from now on and just lives his life in like fucking, some Central American country. Maybe he goes down to, I don't know.
Shaves his head bald. Shaves his head bald.
Yeah. Somewhere where they haven't had TV for a while. Yeah. And is never heard from again. Melania stays because she can't leave where her charging port is for too long, and then and then Pence takes over and tries to fight out Biden in the white hair battle for victory. I think that's as much of a solid theory as anything else, but I do worry about something like that happen. Speaking of some weird crazy shit, did you see Brad Parscale lose his shit?
Yeah.
Do you know who Brad Parscale is, right?
He was former campaign manager for the president.
Yeah, he was his digital campaign manager, and there was this big deal about how he rose up through the ranks because all of a sudden he was like blowing up, and he was just this little guy who did this little web campaign for him at one point for free, and now he's this big deal and 6'8" badass man talking all this shit, and they arrested him last week in Florida because he was, surprise, a conservative beating on his wife and walking around with a gun that he was like, I don't know, cocked and loaded. It was a day or two after they came out with some information about the campaign, like being fraudulent on like $170 million worth of money or something. But you know, things that drive people crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. Like when those excuse me,
The tea is getting to them, ladies and
when
gentlemen.
those dudes steal the money, it's like they never fathom getting caught.
Right.
Like, how do you not have a better plan than just freaking the fuck out? How do you not have like a contingency?
Like there's a
You just
point.
thought you was gonna get away with the shit forever?
There's a point where you get a few million in the bank and you're like, well, we've obviously been doing illegal shit. So the best move now is to like pull out of this and go. Like once you got 5 and you got that illegal, you gotta like this is how I gamble though. Like if I go and I gamble, there is a limit to where we're gonna go before we start realizing we're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah.
You gotta know when to fold them, man. Knowing when to fold them is that's a big part. That's like the most important part of the Kenny Rogers song, right? Like knowing when to fold them is a big deal. Know when to walk away, know when to run. Like
also, how about this? Here's a lesson from an OG. You're about to learn something, kids.
Becomes an OG lesson.
This is better than knowing when to fold them. Have a fucking exit strategy.
Well, if you listen to that Kenny Rogers song, only one of those is about staying in. The rest of them is about getting the fuck out, right? Like it's knowing to hold them. All right, stay in. Knowing to fold them, walk away, and run. Those other ones are all about getting the fuck out. Not like the majority of the song is about getting the fuck away from what's happening.
Yeah. Exit strategy, man. Like you gotta assume that at some point this shit's gonna go. When it does, this is my move. These motherfuckers are always surprised that they crime gets caught. Like the FBI is professionals too, nigga. Like they put up scores. This ain't the Washington Generals. They catch niggas.
Speaking about getting caught, Daniel Cameron is in some shit in Kentucky right now too. As it turns out. Yeah, so it was a really interesting thing because Daniel Cameron came out and he was the guy who had to deliver the news in Kentucky about Breonna Taylor. And a lot of people get confused when someone who is a member of a marginalized group does some shit that looks like it's shitting on a marginalized group. But I think it's important to remember that like there were Jewish people that fought with the Third Reich. Like there were Jewish people that for sure, like it's documented. There's articles about it. There are Jewish people that were accepted by Germans as soldiers because they were already in the military when all that shit was going on. Or people that came from like higher up positions in society there who were basically like, we're not those Jews. That's a legit thing, dude. Back in Hitler's Germany, when the war was going on, there were straight up Jews that fought with the German army in the Third Reich because they didn't think they were those Jews.
Here's the thing. They
weren't hiding.
Yeah, I believe you. I know everything is true. I know you do your research. But that's just too much Hitler and Jews for us in this conversation. So we're gonna move on to something.
So here's my point though. Here's my point though.
Earlier, I thought the joking about the president dying earlier was gonna get us in some trouble. But I'm pretty sure the Hitler Jew rant in the middle of the show after that is definitely gonna be like, wait a second.
It's number 2. Wait.
Let's check these.
We're pulling them back. We're back in. I just saved our lives with that one. The white nationalists have said no, but here's the thing though. When people talk about the Proud Boys or they talk about Daniel Cameron or all this shit, like there are plenty of people who think they're not part of the marginalized group, who think that somehow because the supremacists are telling them the bullshit, that bullshit is legit. And because they've got positions of power, like Daniel Cameron is the AG. That dude who's the whatever top dog in the Proud Boys is a top dog in the Proud Boys who happens to be half Cuban or whatever the fuck he is. Like
talking to say house niggas.
Right. In the end, house niggas. But anyway, Cameron only presented wanton endangerment charges. He didn't present a homicide charge to the grand jury to even try. So like this idea that after all this, we've come down to wanton endangerment, it was the only charge he tried to get. He didn't try and present a homicide charge to the grand jury to even get the indictment in the first place.
I don't even understand, like, especially considering knowing that the dude that they said that they were looking for was already in custody. I don't understand how a minimum a manslaughter charge wasn't justified.
It's gotta be.
Because anything about the warrant is I can't, but I don't know if poison fruit is the right term. In the legalese, there's a thing they say poison fruit because if you get the warrant under false pretenses,
Right.
and then that makes everything bad. The warrant's bad.
Yeah.
So if the warrant's bad, then everything that happens with the warrant is bad. And if everything that happens with the warrant is bad, somebody dies, that's at least manslaughter.
Right.
Like, I'm not a fucking lawyer, but I've watched enough LA law to know that.
Yeah, it's like doing something that is breaking the law and then killing somebody in self-defense. It's like crossing state lines with a gun to protect the business and then shooting somebody, right? When you're 17. It's the same thing. Like once you've broken all those laws, the self-defense part is kind of out of the window there. It's a similar thing. Is that relatable? Is that We're back off. They're gonna come get us again. They're gonna
I dropped some accidental OG slip. I said LA law and I meant Law and Order, but I'm old enough to remember LA law too.
Yeah, you took it back to the LA law days.
To the LA law. Blair Underwood.
Corbin Burbenson.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blair Underwood. Blair Underwood has looked the same since LA Law. That guy is
that nigga's an alien.
The same now.
That nigga's definitely an alien. He's an alien. He's one of the lizard people or whatever. He's an alien. Nigga same as he did in 92.
Speaking of a guy who seems to be timeless, are you watching the Lakers Heat finals? Are you watching that?
Fuck them finals.
You hate everything about them, huh?
Yeah, nah, man. I'm angry because them niggas both should be playing for the Bulls right now.
All of them. Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Jimmy Butler should all be Bulls.
Like, what the fuck, man?
These should be on like the 4 or 5 Pete right now. That's what should be happening. And it's not happening. And I'm very upset about it. But on the flip side, Anthony Davis, as I will not effectively like cheer for the Lakers. But Anthony Davis is homegrown, and there is an element of that. It's the only thing I look at the finals. And the other part of it is like watching Jimmy Butler stick it to people who are definitely supposed to beat him is kind of it's a little bit of a kink for me, is like watching Jimmy Butler stick it to teams and people that have told him he ain't shit.
Yeah.
Like seeing if Jimmy Butler somehow like came back and even made this like a 6 or 7 game series, mostly on his own back, man.
Jimmy is like Jimmy Buckets ain't enough. We started to call that motherfucker Jimmy Legend, man.
Dude.
I like
even getting them here is a big deal, right? Like,
yeah.
And as it turns out, the Heat are a good basketball team. Like Bam Adebayo is dope. Goran Dragic is playing the best basketball he's had. That kid Tyler Hero is a fucking ace, dude. That guy is a fucking baller. He's a baller. He is. Man,
the coolest thing about Jimmy Game.
Why can't white people be about white pride for shit like that? Like, be excited for Tyler Hero. That's the shit y'all should be pumping.
For real. Tyler Hero's nice.
Man, y'all should be like, y'all are praising.
Like he sell dope in the South Chicago, but
y'all are praising Donald Trump, but really should be like, yeah, fuck that white dude. The white dude we like is Tyler Hero. That's the cold ass white dude. That man is, he's cold as shit. And they got a whole squad of guys who are killers. Jay Crowder is, the problem is they really don't have the size to match up with Anthony Davis down low, especially when Dwight Howard's in the game. They just don't have Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard is resurging because he has no responsibility to be a top dog. He can be like, that's his world. But if he can go for 12 and 8 and just do that shit, that's his game. And
look, I'm not going to labor on this because I'm not trying to make a joke about his lifestyle, but I also believe they have made a Dennis Rodman style arrangement with him.
Yeah, they have let him kind of live an LA life. Whichever way he wants to live it.
So I think that has a lot to do
good.
Yeah, which is good. I agree.
That should be a thing, man. I think
he feels more comfortable. He's
Well, you and I both have played sports at high levels. You at a higher level than me, and we both know that like there's a level of what people would term as toxic masculinity in sports that makes it difficult for guys that don't fit that specifically. I know for sure we had guys who were good athletes in high school that were effeminate that didn't get treated right because they were kind of effeminate guys who just happen to be good athletes. You know what I mean? Like, and it's a crazy thing to think that like the proper way to live your life just because you play sports on the same team is all the same way. That's just, it's not realistic to me. And I'm glad to see if that's what's done it and made him the guy who's able to get through it. Good. I'm happy for it.
Yeah. Because I used to like him as a player until he did Van Gundy wrong.
Yep.
Then that's when I stopped.
But it's possible Van Gundy may have been a problem with that situation. So Van Gundy may not have been willing to let him live his life the way he wanted to live it, and that may have been the issue, which is like, then fuck Van Gundy if that's the case.
Yeah, if that's the case. Yeah, fair too. Yeah, that would be unfortunate.
Did you see the story about Joe Montana?
No.
So Joe Montana, he's got grandkids now, which is crazy to even think about. It makes me feel very sad to think that Joe Montana is at an age where he's also got grandkids now. But Joe Montana was a Super Bowl winning quarterback, for those who aren't familiar. A woman came into his house in Malibu last week and tried to take his 9-month-old grandkid from a playpen and take off with it.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and he and his wife like had to chase her down, and like there's like a tussle. There's like a whole thing that went on.
That is
Malibu, California.
What?
What's happening?
That is so like.
So like, first of all, in Malibu, it's not like the homes are necessarily right on top of each other.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
you gotta walk.
It's not like your subdivision in whatever suburb you're watching this in or hearing this from. Like, it's not like you just like, oh, I'm going next door to the neighbor. You walk out your door and you take 5 steps and you're at the neighbor's house. That's not. There's some spots in Malibu, but I don't think Joe Montana's house is that way.
Yeah, his neighbor is a block away.
Yeah, which means somebody came to the neighborhood, walked up into the house, which was open. Like, here's how you know that his house ain't knew nobody's. She just walked right in the motherfucker off the back porch.
Because who the fuck is just walking up?
He's like, the only other people coming up this far is mountain lions. Okay, that's the only shit coming this far up is mountain lions. But he was able to stop that, which was some wild, amazing story I thought was worth adding on to this. Joe Montana still making, making great catch moves here. This late in the game, still making it happen. There's some other entertainment shit just before you get out of here, because we should end on some shit that's fun to talk about. Jamie Foxx is coming back to Spider-Man. Did you see that shit?
Yes, Electro.
Spider-Man 3, Jamie Foxx is coming back. I hope they just redo his shit. I hope they just start it fresh, because like I know they're doing all the Spider-Verse shit. I don't want them to get too lost in all the different Spider-Man that are out there, unless they're really going to bring them all back. If they got room for everybody, I would love to see like 44-year-old Tobey Maguire
being the Spider-Verse version.
Yeah, and Garfield, James Garfield, and all those guys. Like, because Electro is from the Garfield years with Jamie Foxx, and so I would be glad if they really like brought him back and didn't do all the blue shit either. They could like modernize. Like, I'd be fine if they just chopped off that shit and was like, that shit never happened. Put it out of your mind. But we want Jamie Foxx to just be Electro again because we like him as the guy.
Or they could do some kind of quick thing where he gets the blue. He figures out how to make it so he doesn't look all blue.
Yeah, I'm okay with him. I just don't want the blue. That weird version they had last time was crazy as shit. But they're doing all this multiverse shit, so it's possible. Speaking of which, this month, WandaVision comes out, which is going to be super good. On some other Marvel shit, they have finally cast her Ms. Marvel, which if you're playing Avengers, that's a major character in that game. They cast Ms. Marvel. She's an unknown. Nobody knows about her. Her name is Iman Vellani. She's got 0 credits.
Oh wow.
She got zero credits at all. She just wowed them in the shit, and they only got like 5 or 6 young Middle Eastern women who are trying to be actresses right now. They haven't spread the pool out far enough to find the right women for this, and so there's only like 6 18-year-old Muslim women who are acting who fit the look. And so,
I mean,
I'm all for more. I just don't know if there's a ton of them.
You're making that as a joke, and I'm saying
no. I don't think there are live. I mean, joking, sure, but I don't know if there's a ton of 18-year-old Muslim actresses out there in America. Anyway.
Muslim actresses in Hollywood. Shout out to you. We if you're out there,
My bet is that show is going to be largely built around the supporting cast. So they're going to bring in a bunch of well-known actors to play in the supporting cast, and maybe give some people who you've seen as like character actors who've been forced to play like Terror Bomber number 3 in previous roles a chance to like get a real role, which I think is good and fair, and it's not a terrible way to do things. Sam
Well,
Jack, yeah,
they if I don't know if the game is gonna have any kind of tie-in into what future is going on, but uh the way they introducing her through the game and stuff, um I'm looking forward to, like, they have her going through like introducing each character one by one. Introducing that character with bringing in cameos from other from the universe of the characters from Universal Health. Sorry, T starting to kick in.
yep, there it is. Look at that. You can tell the smile is big, the eyes are semi-closed. He's
I was
starting to
trying to be
rock.
cool
He's
about it, but
starting to
then I
rock a little
couldn't
bit. You can
talk.
see him start to fade. He's starting to
Oh
lose
yeah, I
his
was trying to be
hair.
cool about it, but then I couldn't talk. I couldn't
See
finish
him.
saying that, so I'm trying to lie.
One more Marvel piece of news. Sam Jackson's getting his own Fury show on Disney Plus, which is going to be dope. I'm excited to see that shit. Uh, I don't care what the fuck it is. I just hope he gets to swear a lot in it. That's all I care about. I hope they I hope they just have to beep about it a lot because it's Disney Plus. I would roll with that, but I would love to see that happen. But he should get his own series. It'll be dope.
Hey,
And
I
he
don't
does
think
anything.
we didn't talk about this on the show. Did you see that they changed the Mandalorian character midway through
Yeah, dude.
production?
What a fucking so the funny thing about first of all, the funniest thing about Mandalorian is everybody on that show who has to wear a helmet is hot underneath it. Like every character the in the first season, the chick who played like the iron worker, the one who built the fucking
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
looked up because I'm like, wonder what these people like. I started looking up characters, be like, who these people look, who are these who are playing these parts? Are they nobodies? Are they somebody's? And like that chick is fine as hell. It's like you don't why would you take that job?
Wearing a
That's a
helmet.
gig that could go to somebody who may not be as camera fun. You know what I mean? They could have
Yeah.
they could have put that on somebody else. But anyway, yeah, apparently he had some issues with what was going on. They replaced him. And the dumb thing about like taking issues when your character wears a mask the whole time is like this get another dude who's your height to wear the
Yeah,
mask. But
yeah. You're right. Can you do the voice?
yeah, can you
Yeah.
give
All right.
I mean, the voice is somewhat auto-tuned anyway, so they can just fuck with the voice and make it like get close enough and just end it. I think he wanted scenes with the mask off was the problem. I'm not kidding. I think he wanted scenes with the mask off, and like the main thing about this character is like
He
he doesn't
doesn't
take the
take the mask off.
yeah, the helmet doesn't come off. The helmet stays on the whole time, and so
He
I don't.
didn't read. He didn't read anything about the guy. He done, he's talking to his agent after they filmed the pilot. He's talking to his agent like, wait a second. It says here he never takes the mask off. You didn't tell me he never takes the
Like,
mask off.
I mean, I know he's doing it for the streaming version of Disney, but like the pay still got to be worth it, right? Like,
Yeah, it's one of the most popular shows. It's gotta be
because in
super
your
good.
head you're like, man, I don't. Nobody ever gets to see my face. I just got to stand around and walk in this helmet the whole time. But like the check's got. I mean, I would go do it for whatever the check is. I would go do that shit. I would have no problem doing that shit. Like,
Also, there's a chance to is if this show stays popular, there's a chance to end up getting something else that
yeah,
happens in a film.
yeah. But he could wear a mask or a helmet in some other show. He could. There's a chance he could be Nova or something and wear a helmet the whole time in that instead. You know.
Man.
Last thing I'm going to recommend before we get out here, and this is just a recommendation. If you have Amazon, watch Utopia. It will freak you the fuck out because it's about pandemics, and it might be the wrong time to talk about conspiracy-based pandemic shit. But this show used to be a UK show. It was only on for 2 seasons, and it came out like 2013 or 14. And I hunted this shit down so wildly when it was first out to watch the UK version. The American version is dope. It's got Rainn Wilson and John Cusack, and it's fucking dope as hell. Oh, and Desmond Borges, who's from You're the Worst. He's fucking great. It's a great show. It'll freak you out though. It'll totally freak you out if you haven't watched it. I know you're watching Orphan Black right now, but watch Utopia.
Desmond Borges is which guy's that from You're the Worst?
He was the roommate.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Okay, cool.
Fucking great actor. Great
Cool.
actor.
Yeah.
He plays this cat named Wilson. It's a show about people who are like they're in a chat group together they've never met. There's this comic book that they think has portents of different viruses that have afflicted the world, and that they can find out future shit that's going on. And so it kind of delves into them becoming involved in this comic that's kind of come to life in their world. Anyway, it's worth watching. I love the first series so much. I thought it was worth mentioning. So
I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'll be done with Orphan Black tomorrow. By the way, I told you I finished the first book. I'm on to the second one. I'm giving this woman props because this junk is a joke. Tomi Adeyemi, second book, Children of Virtue, and so shout out to her. The first one took my breath away.
Where can people find you online so you can talk up this book some more?
At XL Comedy on IG, Facebook, and all the other shit.
The T is in, y'all. You can find me at mocha_Jesus on Twitter and Instagram. You can find the show at New OGs Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Get to our YouTube page, subscribe there. We put up new shit all the time. This is streamed live there if you weren't watching us there today. Make sure you go to People of Comedy. Check them out at People of Comedy and at People of Comedy Network. Whether you're on Twitter or Instagram, make sure you go check out Go Solar Masters. It's a minority-owned solar business. It's the only one like that in Illinois. They've got a $1,000 rebate. Check them out. We'll be back here next week with more great shit. Thanks for sticking around. Wear your mask. That's what's up.
Man, I want that nigga still gonna be with us.
Do it just to say we did it. Fuck a critic on my pivot. I've been ballin'. Engine louder than T-Pain. When I started. Fuck your bitch, now she get attachment. She get calling. High school, you was that nigga. Now you falling. I'm a zigzag through the gang like go smoking on trees. Niggas won't work with us, they pay a fee. Diamonds, they smell sand cheese. Can't find too